Yeah, very big welcome to you, my dear Aries. So the sun, when we look at it, is in Capricorn. And Capricorn is, of course, the cutting off the source. But you do it yourself, right? Or you've been conditioned to do so. You think this is normal to cut off a rose and put it in a vase. And so we recognize here the teaching, right? That in the five senses, we find then the liberation in the third eye, in the sixth chakra. So we have then out of the 15, right, the five senses and the one chakra, then the sixth. Here is the liberation. Now the sun is giving, of course, the light to Aries. And Aries is, of course, the number 4 is also the fourth chakra, which is the heart. And so we can recognize, for example, here in this beautiful deck, this is German, right? But nevertheless, the picture shows that you must really listen to your heart. You must meditate because your body part is the brain, is your head. And that's why I give you the meditation as a yoga position, as a yoga end result, because you are really clearly with your mind, the one that is planting the seed and is connecting. Now, we see here a fire sign and an earth sign, and emperors do get cut off from the source because they have people around them that are sometimes not as honest, because they fear that, you know, the emperor might actually then kick them out, right? They don't have their job anymore. So it plays out. But of course, if we understand really how we liberate ourselves, then we can recognize that the Capricorn is a dancing up to the third eye. It's not a work, it's a play, right? And so here I have, of course, the dancer pose that I brought to Capricorn. Now you're ruled by Mars. Mars is the power, is also the warrior. So you gotta be careful that you are not wanting to be owning what doesn't belong to you, right? Because the world is giving you the sign, I am the boss. Then here, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is the teacher, is also your lessons and the borders. And so you will recognize today through Saturn, because Saturn also rules the world. And so we're going to look into the world at the beginning and not at the end of the journey that you're taking here, right? And so we're going to look what the world is going to tell you. But just understand that you have here an opportunity to recognize, where am I attached to, right? Because the sun is the eye, is what you are, the first house of self and identity. Very important that you understand that, right? So go into your heart. That's where you're going to learn to really be who you're supposed to be, an emperor, right? A leader, a king of kings. And so this right now, just to today, sun and moon, right? And when we recognize that this moment exists only once a year, but if we include all the other planets, then this moment exists only once in your life. Here in the Ethereal Vision Tarot that I gave you, you are the Queen of Wands. If your birthday is between March 12th and April 9th, then she is your court card, but you might have your birthday before or after, so you could be the court card before or after, and maybe you want to look into the reading before and after. I have listed, of course, all the dates down below so that you can have a look at that. You are Aries, the fighter, and you can see, like Capricorn, who also has horns, it is advised for you to also go here into your third eye, right? So I think Capricorn, which is here in your deck, this energy, and you see it's almost the same horns, right? They're not going straight up, they're going down and curly. You can see now that Capricorn is teaching you how to do that, because Capricorn is the number 15, right? It has already the 5th chakra, and the 6th you have 4, right? And the 4, of course, is here at the heart, like I said. So I hope you are going to recognize that through this message. So we're gonna pick a card for the world. This is the Muse Tarot. So I picked some of these decks for their positionings intuitive, right? Some stuff just came up, and here I like that we become a muse for the world, right? And we're gonna see what kind of muse is coming up for you. And it's the 8 of Materials. Look at that. That is connected with the constellation Sun in Virgo. And Virgo is also an earth sign like Capricorn. So you, the Emperor, which is pure fire, kind of a mix, right? Because all queens are mainly connected to the water elements, but you are here water and fire. And so you, if you really learn to understand that water and fire are such extreme opposites, right? If you combine it in the right way, you can be very, very powerful. And so the world is saying, well, then keep working on that. See that the 21 and the 8 makes it 29. The 20 is your calling, right? Is the last judgment. And then, of course, the 9 is the Hermit here again, right? And so the 29 becomes then an 11. And the 11 is a portal. The 11 is the portal that the secret brotherhoods, right? They go from 1 degree to 33 degrees. That's the end, right? They don't go any further than that. So the 11 is kind of like you reached a certain mastery, and then the 22 is another stage as that double-digit number. That is important, right? Because then there is a portal. And you understand now the 11 is the inner teacher, is that inner knowledge that is coming to you when you become a master, right? Because here the 8 of Materials is letting you know you becoming really good in what you're doing, and it benefits the world. And so you can show the world actually that you are this extraordinary human being that can actually create really in a very powerful way things that are necessary for the world, right? And the portal is letting you know that. So the message is already beginning really beautiful. We're going to look back into the last reading because everything is cyclical, and there you had Sagittarius Sun a second time giving your Aries Moon the light. And the message was, yes, deep healing is possible with the friendship of a Cancer. And so you see up here in the arrow that we're going to the left. We're going now to the new moon. And the new moon is that moment where you are recognizing you're coming home. You're coming home to the fact that you are having sun and new moon both in your sign. You don't have an opposite sign. In your full moon, you have Libra giving you the light, right? And so Libra is your opposite energy, which is good for you to actually learn everything about Libra because you want to reach that state of consciousness, because Libra is then the fall equinox and you are the spring equinox. And so here you understand then that in that union, in that combining of knowing that you have in your head the meditation, you have that knowledge, you have the vision in all four directions, right? You are learning that healing is possible. And so basically you see that Sagittarius was bringing a deep healing already. And so we're going to see now what is coming as the next message through, of course, Capricorn. So on the position of the Fool, we get the Ten of Swords. Right away, you get the message, okay, your type of thinking creates a pattern, and sometimes a pattern can be imprisoning us. And so you're going from 0 to 100, right? The 100 is then here with the 10 and the 0, you have 100. And the 100 is like 100% to create here this kind of pattern that brings you, of course, the constellation Sun in Gemini. And Gemini is connected with Mercury, and Mercury is the message, and the swords are the thoughts that are coming here, but they're creating somehow a structure or pattern that could also be very imprisoning. So have a look at that, because the Fool, that step off into the left, right, because we're going to the left, is that you have this ending, right? Because the 10 is then a new cycle where you end the way you think about yourself or about how to begin something, because Uranus is the planet that begins things, the planet that says, well, now we want to change, we want to do things differently, and the 10 is a new round of the 1, right? And so recognize that the 1 is also the Magician. And so on the position of the Magician here comes the Sacrifice, reverse, right? So sometimes it happens that a card comes reverse, and it's then the Medicine here in this Oracle deck, and the number is the 44. So you get right away a portal, and a portal is connected, of course, with you, because you are the number 4. You are the 4 elements, you are the square, you are the world as well that you're holding here in your hand. And 3 times the 4 is you need to let go of thinking that you're powerful, because the 3 is the 3rd chakra, is the empowerment, that you are searching through the material world, and the Sacrifice is that kind of message, right? Because when we sacrifice something, if it would be upright, it would be like you're sacrificing it to the spiritual path, something that you're holding dear. But because it's reverse, it's actually facing then the outer world, and the outer world is literally bringing you now the medicine of the Sacrifice, right? Because the medicine is when it comes reverse, and other than that, it's actually the invitation. And so I'm just gonna read you the medicine. What is the one person or thing that you feel you cannot live without? It is time to offer it all to Spirit so that it may unfold as it will. Do not cling to the old form or allow your sacrifice to weigh heavily upon you. You have sacrificed yourself and your dreams for too long. Now is the time to rededicate yourself to your journey. When you make sacred, you open the doors to infinite wealth. Do not delay. And sacrifice means to make sacred. So make sacred what you think about. Meditation. That's where you recognize that you are not ruled by Mars. You're ruling Mars. You're changing the game, right? We're learning through astrology that we have a planet, we are having the first house of self and identity. We have the body part that is the brain, and that we are Aries, the fighter, the warrior, the one that is impulsive and reactive, and also as that then the leader, right, that needs to actually make a decision. But what if we change that, right? What if we make sacred what we think about? And so I wanted to see, why is the making sacred coming up? And here we got reversed the 3 of Pentacles, which is connected with the constellation Mars in Capricorn. Mars, which is your planet that is leading you, is literally saying, well, I guess you got to look at, why is this attachment or the cutting off of the source actually making you dependent on something? That's why the project is not working. A bigger project that needs help from others, so that you can be someone that can really lead. A leader needs a place, or needs to show that he created something. But are you creating it for your ego, or are you creating it for the community, which is the 3, which is of course the Empress, which is more the feminine aspect that you have deep within you through the Queen of Wands, right? You are water and fire. So recognize what's happening here, because when I calculate all of this now together, of course I don't calculate here the 44 together, but if I would, we get the 45, which is the 9, which is again then the Virgo. And the Virgo came right by the 29 when we calculated it together, and then the 11, which got you to the teachings, the inner teacher. And the Virgo does that. Virgo is the inner alchemy of bringing masculine and feminine together, water and fire. And so here you have, through the Magician, that one aspect, right, that inspiration, that clear inspiration that says, okay, now the 44 becomes a 45, which is then a 9. But I'm not calculating that together. I rather do now the 3 and the 1, which becomes a 4. And so here you get a 4-4-4 portal. 3 times the 4, right? And so you are understanding that if you want to be powerful, you got to learn to change perspective. You got to learn to not fall prey into doubt. Because when something is reversed, right, the native Indians say, well, then it's not there yet. So you got to now bring the sacrifice, right? Make something sacred so that you can build this energy up, because it also came reversed. And so you see here clearly the message, right? It's very clear, because the Magician is connected with Mercury. And here we have Sun in Gemini, and Gemini is connected with Mercury, and Virgo as well. Virgo is also connected with Mercury, so the spiritual information is coming to you, and you are learning then here to become 3 times the 4, with you 4 times the 4. 4 times the 4 is the heart. Listen to your heart, right? Like I showed you here in the first house. Listen to your heart, meditate, and connect deeply to your heart, because apparently the 4 times 4 portal is giving you that information. Then on the position of the High Priestess comes Sagittarius, the Knight of Wands. And so you are called to act, right? Because this is more a knight that is sitting on a horse and does the things with a very strong enthusiasm. And so either a Sagittarius is here that is helping you, or you are now learning the philosophy, because the Sagittarius is the 9th house of philosophy and learning. And you're learning now to listen to your intuition, because the High Priestess is holding the book of all books. She's connected with the moon, and the moon is your feelings and the subconscious. And so you are learning through the inspiration of Sagittarius, or in general, you're learning to be more intuitive. You're learning to trust your gut feeling. What is coming up in your subconscious, right? What is coming up through the way you feel. And so then you can be flamboyant, you can be showing yourself, right? Because here you again get the 2 and the 9 calculated together, the 11, the inner teacher then appears. Then you know that whatever knowledge you have gained through your intuition is something that never leaves. It's something that you own. And so I think there is coming help, right, with what's happening here with the sacrifice to make sacred. Because when we are going deeper into the philosophy part of life, then we are recognizing more the sacred aspect of all of it. Then on the position of the Empress comes the Magician. And so here the 3, the feminine aspect in you, through the Queen of Wands, right, the water and the fire, you are then getting the Magician again, the Mercury aspect. And so the 3 and the 1 is creating the 4. And so you have 5 times the 4. 5 times the 4 is speaking about it, knowing that you can inspire people, knowing that you can be now the emperor that creates magic. And so it's beautiful, right? You are getting really like a message, because also when we have here the 11, then you get here 3 times the 1. And to be a magician and to be powerful, you need to learn how to use the power, not to control people, so that you don't think that you're controlling them, but you're working with them, right? And so the Magician is here to help you, because he has all 4 elements on the table. He has the square, but he only has 3 legs. Remember, the Empress is the number 3, is the Holy Triangle, is the new one. And so you are learning very clearly to use the 1 sword, to use the 1 sword here in the 10, right? To not create a habit the way you think, or the way you think that you need to do things. And in that habit, you are learning to be someone that makes sacred, right? And that the medicine is talking here to you, and so you can actually create something, right? That's of importance, that's of value. Then on the position of the Emperor comes the High Priestess. So you are called to be intuitive, very clear. The 4 and the 2 then creates a 6. The 6 is then self-love, the hexagram, the triangle that's pointing up and the triangle that's pointing down. And in your intuition, you are learning to be then through Sun in Gemini, right? Gemini is the lovers, to be really deeply in love with yourself, so that you can create a more empowered you. The 6, always understand that the 6 also connects you back to the Capricorn. When you combine the 5 chakras plus 1, then you have 6 chakras calculated together. You get the 6 here, right? And so really understand self-love as something that just comes to you, and be empowered through it. And so here the 6 is very clearly talking to you. On the position then of the Queen of Wands, right, your court card, which is in the center of this reading, comes here the Strength. Comes Leo, and Leo is the number 8 here. In some decks it's the 11, but here you the 8. And so the 8 plus you, the 1, the first house of self, creates a 9, and the 9 is the completion. The 9 is then the Virgo that is talking to you to become a master in what you're doing, to sharpen your mastery, to be more and more clear in the way you really work with your inner strength, with combining the wild side in you and the gentle side, and the 9 as then the message that says, yes, you can do it, right? You can be a high priestess and you can be the strength. Together creates here these 2 major arcana, a 10. And the 10 was right at the beginning coming to you saying, listen to the way you think. Listen to the patterns. Listen to what dogmas have been put into your brain and let them go. Make sacred so that you can build something and that you can then be flamboyant, be intuitive, right? And so you see that you then become a magician, and that then from the magician you become a high priestess, and through them together, right, which creates then the 3, you become very strong in the way you execute things. And so the completion is clear, right? So that you understand, yes, I can do it. Then on the position of Capricorn, right, the goat, you get here the wandering star, the hermit, the 9. And so the 15 and the 9 is the 24, which is then again a 6. And the 6 is speaking here clearly, find deep within you the light, find deep within you the connection, also the inner work, and also the healing, all right? Because Capricorn is almost like saying, yes, this is what I bring to you, because it's the sun giving you that power. It's the cutting off sometimes that leads us back to the third eye, because we cannot survive this, right? We are dependent then on others. And so you are learning through the sun to recognize that deep within you, because it's important that you understand that, right? It's important that you see that light. And so the devil is bringing you through certain attachments the understanding that you want to liberate yourself, because here the 15, I can make a 6, and the 9 and the 6 is the 15. Again, don't get attached also to the inner work. Allow the love, the 6, to be left here, right? The 6 is then a 6-6 portal here with you, right? You doing the inner work, the intuition, you knowing that this is important, you knowing that you then can teach others what you have learned yourself. And that's where the inner strength comes, right? You have then here a 9-9 portal, 9-9 here. And so you know all of a sudden, okay, Virgo is coming through the world to you. You become a master. Mastery is something that we learn, something that we want. And then on the position of the moon as the oracle card here, the dream oracle, because the moon is guiding our dreams, our subconscious, and our feelings, comes the 6. The cosmic womb and the divine feminine that is now coming out of you, right? In combining you as the water and fire that brings you the strength, right? The strength to actually overcome any attachments, right? And then the 6 that is here again. So you have a 6-6-6 portal already, 3 times 6. And a lot of people then say, oh, that's the sign of the beast. But it's not. It's one of the most sacred geometrical forms, which is the hexagram, which is the triangle pointing down and the triangle pointing up. And you are able to create that. You are water and fire. You are the triangle that's pointing up, and you're the triangle that's pointing down. And so in your meditation, you should see that, right? You should see that you can create the hexagram deep within you. And so the cosmic womb, look at that. It's almost like when we go deeper here into the lamp, we can now see here the light that she's holding for you. So the Virgo is here, Sun in Virgo, and the major arcana of Virgo. So Virgo, there is a Virgo in your life that is actually helping you to now see this. And so I wanted to see why is here the cosmic womb coming up, and you get the Lovers, the 6, the Gemini, which came here, Sun in Gemini, through the 10 of Swords. To the left, facing the left, right? And so facing the left, here is the Lovers, and the Lovers is always that moment where we really understand here that the walls of the Emperor and the Hierophant are opening. No, the Emperor is the 4 and the Hierophant is the 5, and so there is a 9 in here. Then we have these 2 cups. We have the pink floor and we have the Lovers as a black and white figure, and the door is opening. And all of that is pointing to the left, to your new moon. So you find here 6, 6. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 times the 6, right? And 3 times the 6 is the hexagram, but now 4 times it's the heart, like we said at the beginning. Open your heart. Know that you need to come into the 4th chakra. That's your resurrection. That's your healing. But also the 4 in the tree of life is that moment where you're stable in understanding how all these numbers work, right? And so you are learning very clearly to be in the 1, 2, 3, 4 times 4. And here the 9 plus the 6 is the 15. And again, the 15 plus the 6 is the 21. So here the 18 is the 9. The 9 and the 6 is the 15. The 15 becomes the 6. And then we have the 6, 6 portal, which I don't calculate together, right? But if I would, we get the 12, and the 12 is then the 3. The feminine aspect is calling that you become more and more here a high priestess, right? That the masculine side in you accepts more and more the feminine, and so the moon is literally letting you know that. And you are understanding more and more how all of this works, because then on the position of the sun, right, which is of course in Capricorn, and the sun brought you the Hermit, right? And so here we have the number 39, and the 39, the 9 is in there, and here we have the 9 as well, right? And so the 39 becomes a 12, and the 12 is the Hangman. So sometimes it's important for us to do inversions, to recognize that the 12 is the moment just before enlightenment, and then the 12 becomes a 3 again. And so here you have the 19, the sun, the clarity to see that gravity is pulling you down, but there's also something that is saying, no, you can also go up. And so the 19 becomes the 10 plus here the 3, right, is the 13. A big transformation is letting you know you are about to shift and change the world by the way you see the gravity holding you here, right? And then the 4 is coming out of that, and the 4 is that moment where you recognize now you have 6 times the 4. Amazing, right? The third eye is calling you through Capricorn. Capricorn is giving you that opportunity to awaken, to come into an empowerment. And so I wanted to see what empowerment is coming here to you, and you get the Virgo energy again, the crone. And the crone is actually at a crossroad. She's actually now needing to make a decision between these two here, right? And it's turning also to the left, and to the left is like you are not sure yet if you have really the power to do what it takes to do, because you again have here 2 major arcanas, and you have actually quite a few major arcanas, right? You have the High Priestess, you have Leo, the Strength, then you have twice the Virgo energy, right? The Hermit, the inner work that is when we go to the new moon, we do the inner work. And then you have, again, Virgo, and you have the major arcana here. And so it's very strong. And you have also the Magician. So you have a lot of major arcana. So there's a major change coming to you. But you also have the help with the Sagittarius, right? Giving you help or bringing you help to make this sacred, right? To make your life sacred, to make your life special, and do the work, because the work is now at the end of the reading. The world, right, is like, yes, then Sun in Virgo. Virgo here again is showing you how things are sacred, how things are through gravity pulled to the earth. The earth is the world of duality. And so we have here the 10 and the 3s, the 13, and the 4 is left. The 4 and the 9 is again the 13, and the 13, the 4 is left. You are left. You are left if you do the inner work, because you are going to the new moon. You are left if you see that here we have the inner teacher coming to you. The world is bringing you now that you can become a master the more you are allowed to go deeper within, through also Capricorn that is leading the way, that is showing you like, okay, certain things, don't get attached. When you build something, it doesn't have to be always perfect, but of course this is something that you love to do, and so do it, right? Because the Sun here brought you the Hermit, right? The Hermit that says, well, here the 9-9 portal is giving you a clarity that certain things in the 39 is teaching you. And of course on the moon you got here the High Priestess, right? The 6-6 portal with the 2, it's like, okay, you really understand that when I calculate here now, the 6-6 is the 12, and the 12 is the 3 and the 2 is the 5. The 5 is the Hierophant. The wall of the Hierophant is opening up here, and the wall of the Emperor in the Lovers, and you can see now that true love begins deep within you, right? That's the message here. You are learning to love yourself. You are learning to arrive at yourself. You're learning to love yourself in this deep connection, right? Through the 15 here, again, the 15 of here, the Capricorn energy. And so the 6 is left, and the 6 is saying, well, love yourself. Just love yourself, because then you understand when we close the reading that she's looking at the 10 of Swords, and she's like, well, I can do only what I can do, and I do it good, but I don't want to come into a pattern. I want to be free. I don't want to actually see that the same hand positioning is coming here through the sacrifice, but because you do give things up and you make things sacred, right? You have to really learn that. And so here there is a message that you are needing to make things sacred, because that's why the world is giving you the 11. And the 11 is then here also with the Magician 3 times the 1, right? See the potential in the empowerment that lies always deep within you. Wow, what a beautiful message, right? And also the combination of the numbers in the reading is quite magical. So I hope I see you in the next one, because then we have the Sun in Aquarius. And Aquarius is the star. Aquarius is the moment where we recognize, okay, I am now realizing that Pluto is going this year for 20 years into Aquarius, and everything is going to change. And so we're going to have a look at that. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.